Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to show you step by step how to install a Whirlpool dishwasher, specifically model number WDT710PAHZ. However, most Whirlpool dishwashers do have the same installation process, so don't worry if yours is a different model. Definitely watch this video, it will help you out. I'm going to start off by telling you the accessories that you'll need for this the installation. Whirlpool, this particular model actually includes most dishwashers include the drain hose, but in addition to the drain hose, you'll have the clamps and the mounting brackets along with the screws to secure the unit. In addition to that, you'll actually need a dishwasher kit, which is usually composed of your supply line, along with the brass fitting or elbow needed to connect the supply line to the dishwasher, as well as if yours is a direct plug-in, a power cord, a standard 110 power cord, and then I got some wire nuts depending on the installation there. But that's all you'll need as far as hardware. All right, let's dive right in. Naturally, you see a box, you see these flaps. You want to open a dishwasher from here to start trying to pull it out, but think about doing that. You're gonna try to lift the dishwasher out of a box or lay it down or what have you. It's actually the improper way to open up a dishwasher. Typically, they all have a perforated line, like a dotted line, that goes all the way around the dishwasher, showing you that you can cut open the box right down here along this line. As I said, it's all the way around, and then all you simply do is lift the box over the dishwasher. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. Boom, done, and then the box just simply lifts right over the dishwasher. So you have this right here is an insulation that comes with the unit. Make sure you keep it, lift it off, but this is not supposed to be removed. It simply stays around the tub of the dishwasher. Inside the dishwasher, you're gonna find the accessories that I mentioned. So here's your drain hose. This is an extension to your drain hose that you're gonna add, and I'll show you that during the installation process. You're also gonna find your product registration, but you can also register it online, so you don't have to mail that in. Then you have the owner's manual along with the installation manual, and inside this bag is the clamps and the mounting brackets to secure the unit along with the screws. And then you also have an Allen key, which is used to secure the handle to the dishwasher. So this right here it goes over these for the actual handle of the dishwasher. And all that stuff that I just mentioned is found inside. I'm gonna start off by installing the handle onto the dishwasher. I find that it makes it a little easier for me to maneuver the unit and move it around once I'm ready to actually slide it into the space. So here's the handle. It comes in this box, and it's also bubble wrapped, and that's what you're gonna find inside. And we'll go ahead and grab the Allen key that's also included. I like using the Allen key that's included because not only is it an Allen key, but it also has the rubber protectant, so that when you're putting the handle on, you won't scratch the surface of the stainless steel. As you can see, here's the Allen side, and then you got the rubber protectant here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop that on. The screws for the handle are already attached, like they're already on the handle. I'll show that to you so you can see. So you don't have to go looking for them. They're actually right there. It's already in the handle. You just tighten them down, and they when you put them in, the screw holes, you point them down so that you don't see it at the top. So it'll go here. Before doing that, what I would like to point out is if you put this on, then you're gonna have the plastic, because still has a film over top of it. If you put this on first, when you're taking it off, it just makes it harder to clean. So I'm gonna peel back some of the plastic first. This way it just makes it a little easier. but I usually like to wait till the end to peel the plastic just so it doesn't fingerprint the dishwasher. But I'll go ahead and peel some down from here. This way, we don't have to worry about that part. All right, let's go ahead and pop that on real quick. And as I mentioned, the screw that's at the bottom, you just simply start it there, and then you go until you get it nice and tight. Make sure it's nice and tight so that you don't end up developing a loose handle later on. Handle is nice and tight and secured. The next step is going to be preparing the dishwasher so that we can get it installed. I'm going to go ahead and lay this unit on its back side. Let you see what I'm working on here. So for this part of the installation, you're going to need your drain hose, you're going to need your water supply line, the brass fitting to connect the water, your 110 power cord, the wire nuts, and then your preferred tools. First thing to take you're going to want to take this kick plate right off the front there, and it's on this particular model simply half a turn and it just pops right out. Same thing here, half turn, not even a half turn, sorry, quarter turn, just one. And then the next thing that I'm going to go ahead and start with is the electrical box. That is going to be right here on the right side. You're going to pop this cover off. Pops off. Now you can see what you're dealing with. You got a white wire, black wire, and then a screw for your ground wire. So we'll start with that. You're gonna fish the power cord right through the back side. Right, there's a hole that's already pre-cut out, and once you go in, you'll hear it clicks into place, and then you're gonna connect your wires. The green wire that's on your cord is the one that gets secured to the ground wire that you see here. This green wire that's right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and secure that first. Being that we're securing the ground wire on this model to the frame, you only need the two wire nuts for the one for the black wire and one for the white wire. So you're gonna take your your black wire, and just put the tips of the wires, both wires close together, like just towards the lined up, and then use the wire nut to twist them together. Get you a nice tight connection there. And then try to tug on the wire, just tug on each line, making sure that you have a nice tight connection. Then same thing with the white wire. Again, you don't want to put them back towards each other here. You want to actually put the tips together. This way you get a good connection. And again, use the wire nut to twist them. Don't twist the wires, then add the wire nut. You actually use the wire nut to twist the wires. All right, so that's done. We're gonna go ahead and put the cap back on to the electrical. We'll secure that. That covers back on, and your power cord is ready. Not in all situations will you need to install a power cord. So what you're going to want to do is make sure that you check your electrical connection on your previous dishwasher or your space before you go through the trouble of adding a power cord. In our installation here, we do have an outlet actually located right behind the dishwasher to be plugged in. Your dishwasher may be hardwired, and if so, what you're going to want to do is make the same connections with just a bare wire directly to the dishwasher. You don't necessarily have to have an outlet to install a dishwasher. If you have one, great. you just add a power cord to the dishwasher, you plug it in. If you don't have an outlet, it can be hardwired. It's very common that they are hardwired. So once again, you would do the same process. You'd have your electric line, in the space that you're dealing with. You fish it into this box, and you add the proper parts for your electrical connections, and then you make the connections as I showed you there. The next step is to go ahead and, for me, I'm going to go ahead and add I'm going to go ahead and install the drain hose. So the drain extension hose. On this dishwasher, it comes already, the drain hose, a portion of it comes connected to the pump already, and then you have this connection here that you then add the drain hose that comes inside the dishwasher, so that this is the line that you end up fishing under the sink. For this step, you'll actually need the bag that comes with the 2 clamps and the mounting hardware, and you have 2 clamps. Looks like a green one and like a almost like a red one, and you're going to use the red one for this part right now. They're about the same size actually, so I don't think it really matters. But either way, I usually use the red one for this step. And you're going to grab the 2 ends. Make sure when you push this into here, you can see the 2 ends. You got one end that is going to connect to underneath your sink, to your garbage disposal, or to whatever PVC piping under the sink you have for the drain. And then this end here that actually goes into this rubber connection on the other end of the drain hose. So we're going to go ahead and slide this clamp right over this part. Just go ahead and push through here, and make sure that you push this all the way as far back as it goes till it stops. There's actually a line on the drain hose that's almost like a little ridge, and just push it all the way in. Once you have that pushed back as far back as it'll go, on this portion of the hose, it actually says, if you look, it says clamp. So that's where you have to make sure this clamp is squeezed over top of. So I'm gonna grab a pair of pliers here and just get it. You just squeeze it over, and then once you get it right over that port where it says clamp, you can release it, make sure it's nice and tight, and that's done. So we'll just move that out of the way for now. And the next step is going to be installing the elbow for the water supply line. That's this brass fitting. For our connection here, you could see you have the inlet valve for the dishwasher. This is a 3/4 inch, and then it stems out to a 3/8 inch compression for the 3/8 dishwasher line. So I'm going to go ahead and get that connected now. I do want to, right before I install this fitting, I do want to point out that there is a little screen inside the inlet valve, as you can see there. Don't attempt to remove that. That's intended to be there. It's not packaging material or anything like that. That's to protect the inlet valve, so make sure you leave that alone. Now I'm going to go ahead and secure this fitting, and very importantly on this step, you want to make sure you start with your finger. Don't go with your hand. I'm saying don't go attempting to tighten it right away, but you want to make sure you don't cross thread this step here while you're installing this fitting. If you do, it's just gonna create a problem for you with a leak. But the inlet valve that you're securing to is like a hard plastic. So you just want to make sure you start it, get it all nice and tight all the way to as far as it'll go by hand, and then you can give it just a little additional turn just to get it snug. And inside that inlet valve, I'm sorry, the fitting, there is a little washer. So that's what's creating the seal for you. So you don't want to over tighten this so that you don't damage that washer. Just give it a couple turns and just feel that it's nice and tight. Not even a couple turns. It's really just, depending on how much you tighten it, it's probably less than a full turn actually. Then you're gonna go ahead and install your steel braided line, and that's gonna get connected to the other end, the 3/8 end. Once again, this also has a seal inside the hose, so you don't want to over tighten it so you don't damage it. You just do it by hand as far as it'll go by hand. You feel it nice and tight, can't go any further. Then you need a 5/8 inch wrench or a pair of pliers, with your comfort. I find that it's easier to use a 5/8 wrench for this step. This way you can get a good feel for how tight you're going. So it'll go, and then once you can feel it get snug, you pretty much just stop. or not snug, yeah. It's nice and tight, just don't over tighten. And now your supply line's installed. So just to show you a little, obviously recap here, we got our water supply connected, along with the fitting. We installed our drain hose extension. We also installed our power cord. And the final thing before I stand up this dishwasher, just to make it easier to slide into the space, I'm gonna drop these feet a little lower. This way they're not elevated so high up. They simply just turn towards the... Siri wants to help us out. All right. All right, now the dishwasher, we'll stand it up and get it ready to be pushed back into the space. We're now ready to push the dishwasher back into the space, but before doing so, I want to go ahead and outline the space that I'm working with. So just to give you a little visual of what I'm looking at here. I do have granite countertops during this installation, and I don't have anything to secure to the bottom. So what I am going to do is add the mounting brackets to perform a side mount installation so that I can secure it to the sides of the cabinets. And then I also want to point out the outlet that we're going to be plugging the dishwasher into, which is right there on the back side. And then towards the left here, you have 2 holes in the adjacent cabinet, one towards the bottom for the water supply line, and then one at the top where I'm going to fish my drain hose. Your configuration may not be exactly like this for those lines to be ran through. As you can see here, I have a space in between the cabinet under the sink and my actual dishwasher. I got a spacer here that allows me a little bit more flexibility to fish my lines through. So I am able to run my supply line from the bottom and my drain hose from the top without actually kinking any hoses or pinching the drain hose. You may actually have to run both lines through the bottom depending on how tight your space is, because the Whirlpool dishwasher drain hose is towards the bottom of the dishwasher when it's the way it's currently set up. So if it's running through the bottom and you have a tight space and you don't have that space in between, you're going to want to run them through the bottom just to avoid possibly pinching the drain hose. Once you pinch the drain hose, it'll create error codes and issues with you and drain issues with the dishwasher. Before I slide the unit back, what we'll do is go ahead and add the mounting brackets so that we could do a side mount installation. And that's going to include these 2 here, and I'll show you where those get installed. They're going to go, so pop the door open. Basically, the way this dishwasher is, this particular model doesn't have any access through the inside frame of the dishwasher. However, there's a little cutout groove here. So what you're going to do is just install this bracket right here, and just make sure. So it just goes in like this, and then to get it to stay there, there's the little on the back side of it. You just do a little turn to get it to hold back. So let me hold that there, and then get the turn, just a slight turn, and that holds it there. We're gonna do the same thing to the other side. I prefer to twist that part towards the inside of the dishwasher, not the outside, so that it doesn't stick out on you. And if it sticks out, you just don't want it to catch your cabinet or potentially damage your cabinet or anything like that if it's protruding past the frame of the dishwasher. So I always like to twist it towards the inside. All right, we are now ready to push the unit into the space and start the installation. All right, we're gonna start the process of pushing this dishwasher into the space. You have your hoses and your lines back here. I'm gonna go ahead and just begin running the lines where they need to go before I push the dishwasher. So here's my water supply. As I mentioned, I'm gonna fish it through the bottom. Here's my drain hose. I'm gonna go ahead and run this through the top. And then here's my power cord. I'll go ahead and plug this in. And we could start pushing this back into the space here. As we push into the space, what we're gonna wanna do is make sure that none of the lines are getting pinched and free and clear of anything that may be in the way. So as I push it through, what I'm gonna do is go under the sink and actually feed the lines in. During this, while you're doing that, before doing that, I'll point out again the insulation. Make sure it's on properly, and try to hold it back, preventing it from coming forward. What you don't want to happen is this. As you push this in, it's going to be a tight space. So naturally, this is going to want to push forward like that. Try to hold it back as best as you could, and keep it back further beyond these springs. There's springs here for the door itself. If you get this forward and it starts to catch and interfere with the spring, it could just prevent the door from opening and closing properly. So make sure you keep this insulation pushed back over the actual tub and avoiding coming forward. So I got it about here. First thing I'm going to do is fish the lines, or feed the lines in. So, and just make sure that we're nice and free. So I got my drain hose here, and my water line is fed in. Let me go ahead and push back a little further. As you can see, I'm pushing the insulation in. I'm pushing the dishwasher in from the insulation, because if you want to go ahead and start pushing on the dishwasher, this is going to come forward. There's nothing stopping it. It's just it's freely sitting on top of the tub. So I'm pushing in from here, holding it down, just keeping it in place. And as I said, free and clear of the spring, the door spring. So I'm about more than halfway in. Let me go ahead and come back here to my lines and just make sure they're still free without any kind of interference. Come back here, go a little further in, and it's going in nice and smooth. And let's make sure that the lines are still free. Nice and free. I'm gonna take a peek underneath the dishwasher just to make sure I don't have anything kinked up down there. Everything looks good. So let's go ahead and push this into space. So we're about installed. The next thing I'm gonna do is just before I actually start leveling the unit, I'm gonna go ahead and make my connections under the sink. And I'll start with the drain hose. There's gonna be in that same hardware packet that comes with the dishwasher, the green clamp that's included can be used if you're connecting your drain hose to a garbage disposal, because you're able to use the largest size on the drain hose. As you can see on this drain hose, there's two different sizes. If you're going to a garbage disposal, it's more than likely you're going to have the 1-inch connection. However, there could be PVC that you have underneath without a garbage disposal, and the standard connection for the PVC drain for a dishwasher is a 5/8 inch. In that scenario, this clamp won't actually tighten enough for you. So what you're going to want to do usually is you cut this 1-inch portion off if the stem coming off the PVC is shorter. You don't want to you don't want this to happen when you tighten your clamp. You don't want that to happen. That will create a leak. You want to make sure that when you feed this drain hose into the connection, it's tight. So if you're connecting to a normal drain, cut this down to where it gets closer to the 5/8. You make your connection there, and then you use this clamp or this style clamp so that you can tighten it down. You just tighten it down at this connection rather than here. As I mentioned, this won't create it won't tighten enough. So we have a garbage disposal. I'll go ahead and actually feed this in just to show you how that works. Same way as we connected the other end. Simply grab the clamp, squeeze it open so that you can get it over this portion. Once you get it just a little past so that you can make a good connection, you could start to slide it over the garbage disposal connection. So I got it here now. See, like I said, see how loose it is? So it would do you no good to use this if you had to use this part of the drain hose. So I'm gonna go ahead and connect it to my drain hose. As I'm connecting this, what I do want to point out is, being that I did feed the drain hose through the top, you can see that it's basically, according to the manufacturer, you want to make sure that your drain is elevated when it's under the sink. Your drain hose has to be elevated higher than the point of the drain connection. This way you don't have any water flow back from either the garbage disposal or from your sink back into the dishwasher. So water is not going to travel up. You know, naturally, if your drain hose came through the bottom and you don't elevate it at any point, you're going to have a sag in the drain hose, which will essentially, you know, cause the water to drain back into the dishwasher if it didn't fully pump out. So let's go ahead and get this connected. Nice and tight. And then the other thing we're going to connect while we're down here is the water supply line, which is this steel braided hose here, connecting to a 3/8 fitting. It's right back here on my setup, right behind the garbage disposal. Maybe a little difficult to see, but you can see it's that valve right back there. I'm going to go ahead and get that installed there, and I'll show you. Once again, on this connection here, don't forget you're going to use your hand to tighten it as far as it'll go by hand, and then either a pair of pliers, a wrench, or, you know, I got a 5/8 wrench that I'm going to use to go ahead and get that secured. Alright, so I got that nice and tight. You can see where I connected it there. Steel braided hose coming right there through the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and turn the water on so that I can make sure that I don't have any leaks. So my water's turned on. Everything's nice and dry from this connection. While we're verifying that, I'm going to go ahead and just make sure that I also don't have any leaks at the other end, where we connected the other end of the line. And I typically just peek down here. I take a look at the connection. Two places down here. There's going to be the connection where you made for the actual the line to the fitting, and then where you installed the fitting to the inlet valve. Just make sure both of those areas are nice and dry, no drips. As long as that's the case, you can move on to the next step, and everything looks good here. So since I've verified that I have no leaks, my drain hose is connected, my dishwasher is plugged in, my next step is going to be to, just so that I don't go through additional trouble, I want to make sure that I have the dishwasher is in fact turns on and ready for operation before I go through and start leveling and securing the unit. So let's just go ahead and show you here. I am going to, on this model, as you can see, the controls are there at the top. So the way you operate it is you open the door and choose your cycles and whatever options you want, and you hit the start button and close the door. So in this case, we're going to go here, just do a normal wash, and we could choose, whatever options you want. Like I said, this is just for training purposes. I'm showing you that I have power. You hit the start button. Once I close the door, it'll actually begin to fill and start its first cycle. But I see that everything looks okay here. I have no leaks. So the next thing I'm going to show you is how to level the unit and secure it doing the side mount installation. The way, if you remember, when I adjusted the feet down during the step when we were preparing the unit, that's going to be the same way the same approach in leveling it up. As you can see, I have a little bit of a gap here, so I'm going to want to go ahead and raise my back feet first. So I'm going to go, the only way, unfortunately, on these models, is to just squeeze back here to the back, lean the unit forward a little bit, find the foot, and adjust it down so that it's level with the ground. The other option, of course, you always have is if using shims or things of that nature. But if you could reach back here, this is ideal, using the feet that actually are on the unit itself to level it properly so it doesn't go off balance. So both sides, do the same thing. Adjust the foot down. There's just enough room to squeeze your hand back there. So I got my feet in the back down to the floor and go a little bit more. So my back feet are now down. As you can see, the unit is now lifting, leaning forward. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop my front feet so that I can level up, just like that. So I raised it up there, pushed it in, and I'm gonna go ahead and drop the front feet so that I can get this nice and level. Usually you could either use a couple different options. You'll see the little feet at the bottom here. You could use pliers towards the bottom. You could use a ratchet. That's usually a little bit easier through the top if you use get the Allen size on a ratchet, and that'll make it a lot easier to adjust these feet. But that's your preference, of course. It's twisting pretty easy for me, so I'm just gonna keep doing it this way. Some cases you have tile or flooring in front of the unit that don't make it as easy to adjust these feet. In that case, that's when the ratchet comes very, very handy, because you don't have to try to squeeze your fingers in a space that's almost impossible to do. Cool. So some points that I like to just confirm that it's nice and level, or I'll just make sure that my spaces are even all the way around. I just, of course, what's really important in leveling a dishwasher is you level it off of the ground, not necessarily countertops or cabinets, because countertops can wear and you have a dip. Cabinets may not be 100% perfect, but to make sure that your dishwasher is opening and closing properly, you have to level it with the ground and make sure it's nice and level all the way around. Based on that, if for whatever reason you have any imperfections in either your cabinets or your counters, of course it's going to appear as if it's not level. However, it's more important that the unit opens and closes properly so that you don't have any kind of leaks from the door or any issues than it is, obviously appearance. Appearance is important, but your unit needs to function properly. We're almost there, just a few more adjustments to get this thing perfect, and then we'll go ahead and secure it. All right, the unit is nice and level. So now what you're gonna wanna do is you could just pretty much, once you have it nice and level and you know everything's working properly, go ahead and secure it. The brackets, the brackets that we installed on the side of the unit, on the frame of the unit, are here. And as you can see, they have it's hanging over past your cabinet, so use whatever tool to your preference to cut that down. I have some shears. I'll just trim these on both sides and then secure it to the dishwasher, or secure the dishwasher to the side of the cabinet. But for training purposes, I'll just go ahead and show you back to the same hardware packet that had the mounting brackets and the clamps. There's 2 screws for securing the unit. So we're gonna go ahead and get those mounted, and simply just like this, it's overhanging. As I said, just cut whatever excess you don't need, and then you could use the screws to do a side mount. If you have, what I do recommend in this step, just so you don't split the wood, is doing a pre-drilling the actual wherever placement that you're gonna install the screw. Just pre-drill the cabinet so that you don't split it once again. So again, just simply screws into the side, and that's pretty much how you install a Whirlpool dishwasher. The final step is to, after you verify all the other details, is installing your kick plate. So after everything is 100% working, you simply feed this back through the bottom, and then you have these 2 covers to that same way they go back on, same way. You're just gonna slide it through the holes, and I'll show you that on this step right here. So just push it back. So as you can see, once you push the kick plate back into the space, your hose will be available to you so that you feed this right into the spot. Once you have it where, you know, making the connection, you just grab the flathead screwdriver and just do the quarter turn to secure it. Same thing on both sides. This is gonna slide right into place, and then a quarter turn, and that's nice and secure. Oh, that's the other side popped off. Let me just make sure that goes on properly. Once it goes in, I must have not had it. All right, cool. So there you have it. That's how to install a Whirlpool dishwasher. I really hope this video helps. Like and subscribe for more.